Good evening again. This is Working in Saudi 101 for Dummies. This is the third part of the section, which is bringing your family to Saudi Arabia. Now, I'm continuing this now, very important. But along with you bringing your family, you should know the milieu. We spoke about Saudiization. When you're there as a foreigner, and that's relative to you and especially to your wife, you will be seen as something apart. Guest workers are found in many countries. In the Gulf, it's a very different situation regarding, and that's what you are, a guest worker. But depending on your nationality, your job status, that's how you're generally treated by the Saudis. Now, I'm going to explain a little about this. It's important your family knows this. Several years ago, when England had some political problems with Saudi, the Saudi ambassador in England said something like this: there are 35 or 45,000 British people who live and work in Saudi Arabia. What did that mean? It really meant, shut up England, do you want us to make trouble with these people? Britain is a rich country. Shut up, or there could be problems for your nationals. Now look at the governments of the following. Egypt. There are probably 2 million Egyptians in Saudi. Say these people support 4 people in Egypt. That means 8 million people in Egypt rely on income from Saudi, which is a great thing of Saudi, and indirectly. Here I'm stating a fact. I believe that it's helped many countries. So it's been a win-win. But the Egyptian government shuts up. Obvious. India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. Probably they have between them a total of 7 or 8 million people in Saudi, supporting 35 million people in their home countries. So these governments shut up. Especially true of Pakistan, because unlike the other ones, it tends to get a lot of grants from Saudi as well. And there's some historical reasons for that. Philippines, maybe 750,000 Filipinos working in Saudi, maybe feeding 3 or 5 million people in the Philippines. Philippines government shuts up. Now, even a very rich country like Canada, maybe there's a minuscule number of Canadians working there. When Saudi had an argument with Canada several years ago, the Saudis stopped the flights to Canada, made it hard for Canadians to get visas, and threatened to take Saudi students out of Canadian universities. I think that may have been resolved. But relations are still not good. But Canada recently decided to complete an order for military vehicles to be sold by Canada to Saudi. So even though, Canada goes on about beacon of freedom and human rights, etc., they're still selling those vehicles. And I understand why they are. They're providing jobs to people probably in Ontario or some other province. Now, America and England sell lots of military equipment to Saudi. Both countries want to keep their workers employed. And these people make military equipment. And this is very true for British workers in Wharton, Lancashire, or American workers in California and other states. The only difference is that because America protects Saudi militarily, Saudis avoid upsetting Americans or Americans or America. So, and the Saudis know this. So, this is a situation which, is what you and your family have to understand. For most nationalities, very few rights. Now, I'll look at now some viewers' responses to the Free Richard campaign. And one of the other responses was that if you're British, then write your Member of Parliament and ask them what's going on. Why is the British government kicking in money to help a Saudi prince who's under house detention when they won't spend a penny on helping Richard? And ask a few other questions. Now, because the USA and the EU are hiring this PR firm, which is trying to assist a wealthy Saudi, he's not anyone that we have ever heard of. I have the details if you want to get it to it. And you just go to, let me see it. Do I have it here? I'm trying to find it on a piece of paper, and it's a bit difficult because I'm shifting and shuffling paper. But it was an article Al Jazeera had. I'm trying to find it now. I'm sorry about this. Had an article about Saudi Arabia. Yeah. and it was in Al Jazeera, and I'll find that and bring it to you later. But there's also a case where Jocelyn Welsh, a Foreign and Commonwealth officer in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, took unpaid leave in 2014 to work for a PR firm, I think Consulum, where on their client list was the Saudi Crown Prince. Now this group, the present case about the Saudi Prince, the group is called the Sonorum Group. And they signed in May 2020 a contract with the EU, France, USA, and UK to work in lobbying to release this Saudi prince, Prince S. Abdulaziz bin S. Al Saud. You can be all confused by the number of names that are the same and mixed up. But okay, so that's that. Oh, I have the Al Jazeera contact. If you want to look, it's 1 June 2020, Al Jazeera. Saudi Game of Thrones pressure groups to release Saudi prince. Saudi Game of Thrones, 1 June 2020. And that'll tell you about it. Yet poor old Richard, he hasn't even had a visit from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Again, in my first video, you heard how the Americans do much more. Now, speaking about expats, there was a very interesting expat, a British expat called Bone Idol. Now, when he came to work in Saudi, in England, he was a very bad worker. But Mr. Bone Idol, when he got to Saudi, he was working mainly with Saudis, and he seemed to fit in quite well, and he worked out all right. I actually found out that he has Arabic connections, because his name is actually Bin Bone Idol. And I think he actually worked, when he was at the university, he was in the Bullingdon Club, so at Oxford, so he would be well prepared for how to deal with lesser types. So you can see that with all of this stuff, the governments just don't want to shake anyone up. That's how it is in Saudi. And I understand these people. And don't get me wrong, Saudi has provided income for many people. And many people in Saudi will be very good to you. But it's all very relative as to what good is. Now, in my next video, we'll be talking about the next question that was asked. And this will be about reactions to the video. So thank you very much for this video. All I'll say now is about writing your Member of Parliament. Please do that in the UK. People do want to help. They contact me much more on email and other social medium because I don't want this site to be set out. Another thing that is important, and again this is about your family, is that you may find that when you're in Saudi, that yes, you've got to accumulate some money. You're there to accumulate money. It's good, circulate money, work, in spending money in Saudi institutions because, they're feeding you. So go to a Saudi restaurant, buy things from Saudis who are working in shops. I'll finish off moving off this topic in the next one. My next topic will really focus on how to spend your off working hours if you decide to move to Saudi. So that's it, and thank you again. Remember, this is Mr. M for Working in Saudi for Dummies 101. Thank you very much. Bye.